Yeah, the question for today is, when you're makhtuba, when you're going to propose to a woman, you have to glance at her. So, what are you allowed to glance at? Some scholars say just the face and the hands and the feet.
Well, a woman is not supposed to show except a woman is not supposed to show to no mahram except her face and her hands. And the Prophet ordered the man who want to be married, he said, go and look at her. But he also said, فَإِنَّ فِي أَعْيُنِ الْأَنصَارِ شَيْءٍ, and the eyes of the Ansar, they have something, like their eyes, they have problem with the eyes. So the eyes still in the face, really. The eyes are still in the face. So if he told him about something else, you might say this is proof that he can go and look at the woman totally.
What do you mean by the eyes of the Ansar? There's a problem with that.
A woman want to get married with a woman from the Ansar.
Man.
Yeah, want to get married with a woman from the Ansar.
Yeah.
And the Prophet told him to go and look at her, because to check her, to see her, because the Ansar are known to have problems with their eyes.
The women.
Everybody, doesn't matter. We are not going to talk about how the Ansar are made now. We are talking about marriage, okay? So let's not go to that subject.
No, I'm just not understanding your English the way you're explaining it.
Yeah, just go and look at the woman, because for some reasons, go and look at the woman, her eyes. So here the Prophet is ordering the man to go and look at the woman's eyes. So the eyes are still in the face, which is permissible to look at in all cases. But some people have taken this as general, that he can look at the woman in any way. Even some Sahaba, one of the narrators of the Sahaba who narrated this hadith, Jabir, has been seen looking at a woman in a way, like looking at her body as she was walking, like glancing at her. And he was asked, and he used this hadith. So this is where the difference comes. Now, some people say you can look at only the face and the hands. Some people say no, he has the right to look at her exactly the way her family. You understand? And for the family looking at the woman, there is no limit where to say, as long as she is not fully naked. You understand? There is different opinions here. What a family can look from a woman, like brother or father. Yes. There is no limit. Depends on the people. What we call custom. You understand? Because there is no hadith that limits how a father, as long as she is not naked,
she has to cover her.
Yes. Then a father or brother, there is no limit how they can see their relative. And this is opinion of many, not that he can look at her that way. It is the opinion of the Zahiris that he can look at her at any way, as long as it's not arranged between him and her. For example, let's say spy on her.
On his own sister?
No, for the person who is going to get married.
Yeah.
That he can spy on her. So this is three opinions. One that says that he can only look at the face and the hands. He can go and look at her like the way she is supposed to be with a foreigner. Just he doesn't marry something that he has not seen. He marry her, he must go and see her. And then the other opinion that he can see everything in her body, like including her arms, legs, like the way her family can see her. And that all depends on the custom of the people. Some people, you understand? But of course, the custom will not change the fact of the Sharia that a woman can show her legs and her arms. I mean, if she wants to go against the custom, nobody can stop her.
So, what if somebody said, does that extend to the hair as well?
Yeah, of course, the hair is something that is almost in all the customs is permissible to see. That's what we know. You understand? It's more than the hair actually. India, women, they don't cover their back. In this area here, they don't cover it. You have seen this. Yeah, so that is in their custom as well. So in the Sharia, a woman in front of her family, we have three different opinions. The opinion of the Shafi'is that says she must wear normal clothes, but they can never say what is normal clothes. You understand? They say it's fine to show her hair, a bit of her arms. They don't say a bit of arm up to where, a bit of her legs. I mean, in front of her family. The majority use the hadith of that the knee to the belly button is awra. So they say above that is fine to look, the family to look at a woman. You understand? With the hadith that says the knee to the belly button is awra is weak from all the narrations. You understand? So this is actually a question of left to the custom. Of course, it was for us, it is very odd that a woman will show her chest, for example, breast to someone next to her father. But it depends. I mean, in some countries, a woman breastfeed her children in front of her parents or in front of her brothers. So it's not many countries from Africa. I think even in Britain they do it. I don't know if the Europeans do it or not, but you understand. So that is question of custom. It's not question of. Okay, we finished with this. So you have to come to conclusion now. Can you comment on the following hadith? The deflowered woman has a greater right over herself than her guardian, but the virgin is to be asked about herself, and her silence is her permission. On the hadith of Abu Huraira, hadith of Aisha, that woman who is not bikr, not virgin, then she has to be asked. Yeah. If she doesn't answer, that is enough.
If she doesn't want to?
No, she doesn't answer. If a virgin girl is asked, we are going to marry you to this guy, for example, and she doesn't answer, she doesn't give an answer, she doesn't say no, then that is her permission. It's considered to be a permission. As for a woman who is not virgin, then she must say it clearly that she agrees. If she doesn't say anything, then the marriage can't be done.
Okay.
But this hadith also strengthens the opinion of the people that say that a woman can't marry herself. The marriage of a woman is for her guardian. Okay? Because it says that the virgin has more right, the different woman have greater rights over herself than her guardian. She has more rights than her guardian. for marriage. And still the hadith, the other hadith say حتى تستأمر, until she has been asked for her order, what she wants. You understand? Doesn't give her permission to marry herself. The Quran, when Quran speaks about the marriage, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَا تَنْكِحُوا الْمُشْرِكَاتِ, don't marry the mushrikat. This is the man. Don't marry mushrikat. Woman, don't marry woman anyway, because mushrikat means woman unbeliever. Yeah? And then وَلَا تُنْكِحُوا الْمُشْرِكِينَ, don't give into marriage to the unbelievers. So he is not talking to the woman directly. He is talking to her guardian. You understand? I'm not going to talk about the guardian in details, because this is supposed to be another question. Yes? Okay. Secondly, what words must a woman say to conclude the marriage? For example, must she use the words nikah, tazwij, or does it not matter what words she uses in the marriage contract? A woman will not use doesn't have to use any words in marriage. If someone talks to a woman in any word that she understands, that the problem here, when they talk about the word which has to be said, is in the contract. But the woman doesn't conduct the contract. The contract is conducted after her permission is given. Like, you ask the woman, do you want to get married? She says yes. And then you go and you do the contract. The contract is done by the man who is going to get married, or his representative, and the wali of the guardian of the woman, or his representative. So this is the people that are supposed to do the contract. In the contract, it is very important to say the right words. Now, what are the right words? There is different opinions. The fuqaha say not every word, the majority of the fuqaha say not every word is right to use. But they give a list of words that they differ on. It is accepted that the word nikah, the word zawaj, which both means marriage, are accepted. Nobody disagree about this. But then they disagree on extra words, the other words, like I give you the hand of my daughter. No, some people means the hand of give you her hand. Like when someone say, I ask this woman for her hand, meaning for marriage. Many will say this is right, acceptable. The majority say it's acceptable because this is another word that is used for marriage. The Zahiris, Ibn Hazm, say no. You say we have to stick to the words that are used in the Quran and Sunnah. So that is the two words, and he add another word to it. He add another word. That word is tamlik. I make you the owner of. The Arabs use this word as well. But he uses this word because it's in the Hadith. There is a Hadith about the woman who came to the Prophet and said, I offer myself to you. So the Prophet looked at her. He was not interested in her. So this man came and said, if you don't need her, I want to marry her. He sent him and said, go and get something to pay. Mahar. The man went and he came back. He said, I couldn't find anything, but I will give her my izar, part of it. He said, what she will do with your izar? I mean, part of it. It will not be enough for you to cover yourself. If you give her half, it won't be enough for her to do anything with it. So, and then he told him, go and try to find even a ring of iron. He went and he couldn't find anything. So he said, do you read Quran? He said, yes. He memorized Quran. He said, okay, I give her to you with the Quran that you have memorized, that you teach should teach her from the Quran. Meaning, you have to pay something to the woman as mahr. Now, teaching her is a kind of property, a kind of payment. It's money. You can get money for teaching Quran. So that is what he is going to teach her Quran. Of course, that is when we talk about mahr, we go into that details as well. Here, this man, the Prophet, when he said this hadith, if you look at this hadith in Bukhari, Muslim, other books, you will find that he told him different narrators narrated this hadith in a different way. Some say the Prophet said, I give her to you into marriage in this word, zawwajtuka iyah. Some people used word zawaj. Some narrators of the hadith say ankahtuka iyah. Some narrators, the same hadith, say mallaktuka iyah. So you see, 3 different words, same hadith, same woman, same man. It's not possible that this story happened over and over and over again. Like a woman came to the Prophet, she offered herself, he refused her, a man came. You understand? It's not like it happened one time and then second time and another time. All the time it happens the same way. So it is one time. It is narrated by the same people. It comes from the same chain. But then below, like from one person, many people narrated it. Everyone used the word, which means that everybody narrated it in his own way. You understand?
Yeah.
So now, Ibn Hazm will say these 3 words are right.
All the 3 of them trustworthy.
Yeah, all of them trustworthy, but people narrate hadith with the meaning rather than the same wording. Now, they say, Ibn Hazm say, all these words that the Prophet told them, said them. How did the Prophet say, I marry you, this woman, uzawwijuka, unkihuka, umallikuka, like, you understand? Like repeating himself. It's not possible. So he said one word and the people, so he says these 3 words are the words that you have to say. Huh? The word marriage and zawaj, there is no different, shouldn't be a different opinion anyway about it. That definitely the marriage can be concluded with these 2 words. But then people have different languages. It's not one language. And even though in our language we know it is zawaj and nikah, other people might have used many different words, and they are not going to ask Shakespeare what words are accepted in your language and what in English word, any words that. So the opinion. This is the opinion of the majority, that you can use any word that will be understood as marriage. The others say, as for few Zahiris, they say just the words that have been used. But this, if they take this opinion, of course they have to take away this word tamlik, because it doesn't come as marriage. Some Arabs do use it, but it's not really the word. Because if they go to that word tamlik, then they have to use every word that says that show as marriage, like give you her hand, or you understand, like asking a woman for marriage, I want your hand. You understand?
What does tamlik mean again? Tamlik means what?
Tamlik is from mulk, ownership. A man, when he marry a woman, he has some kind of ownership. Not he own her, but he own
The household.
No, it's not the household. He owns something that no other person owns in this woman. He owns the right to have relationship with her, which nobody. This is only he can do that. No other. So it's his. She also owned the right to. She doesn't own. He can have other woman, he can have many slaves. You understand? So she doesn't really own him, own that right on him. You understand? He has the right to get married to other women, but she doesn't have. She is just for him. So, okay, can a master force his slave to marry? Yeah. Can a master force his slave to marry? Abu Hanifa says that the master can't force his slave to marry a man. If he is a man, slave man, he can't force him to marry. But he can force his slave woman to get married. Malik says he can force both of them, the slave and the slave man and woman, to get married. He didn't say he can force them because they are his property. He said he can force them as long as he doesn't force the girl, the slave girl, to marry someone who is a black. Malik had some problem with the blacks. So as long as he doesn't force her to marry a black who is not very good looking, not good looking, he's like Malik always, when he tried to talk about like when he says a woman shouldn't travel, the hadith say a woman shouldn't travel by herself. He said, yeah, a woman shouldn't travel by herself unless she is black, not beautiful. So he always, like, in a way, associated black with not beautiful. You understand? So that is probably the way he looks at people. You understand? I don't know why he has this. So he said, as long as he doesn't force her, like, because he is harming her by forcing her to marry someone who is not good looking or something. And if she is good looking, that's what he says. And that is harm. If it's a question of harming, a woman can hate a man, don't want to get married to him, no matter what. Yeah. So it has nothing to do with looking or not looking. So he didn't bring something, and he didn't prove what is the difference between this and this. Abu Hanifa said a man can't force his slave to get married.
Man.
Yes, a slave man. He can't force him to get married because he said it is for the slave to divorce. If he has the right to divorce, then it should be his right to get married. But for the girl, he put it this way. He said, if the girl, the man has the right to use her as his wife. So this is his right. He can get, like a man with his slave, he doesn't have her permission. He doesn't need her permission to have a relation with her. He says since it is that way, then he doesn't need her permission to marry her to someone else.
So a man who owns a slave can have relations with her as he wills.
As his wife. Someone who has ownership of a woman, she is like his wife. He doesn't have to marry her. Actually, if he wants to marry her, according to every scholar, he must free her first.
Okay.
But if he doesn't want to marry her, then she is like his wife.
So children are considered to be children.
Yeah, that is actually what has been done all the time. You see, the Ibrahim, the Prophet, had two women. Sarah, his wife, but Hajar, the mother of the Jewish. Sarah is the grandmother of the Jewish. From her, Ishaq, Israel, and his children. She is his wife, proper wife. But Hajar, the mother of the Arabs, the mother of Ismail, she was just a slave. He was not married to her. She was a slave that was given to him by his wife.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought there was always a dislike between the two of them.
Yeah, no, she gave her to him, and then she became jealous when she had.
Because Hajar gave birth first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is the So Hajar was slave, and even the Prophet after Khadija, all his wives, he had no children with them, except from his slave, Maria, the mother of Ibrahim, who died in his birth, in childhood when he was about a year or something. He died. Ibrahim was not the son of any of his wives. He was the son of his slave that was given him as a gift from the king of Egypt. Maria al-Qibtiyya, he never married her. She was just a slave.
She was she wasn't Muslim.
No, she was Muslim. No one of the wives of the Prophet was no Muslim. You think, like Safiya, the Jewish, he fought with Jewish and he took her. She became Muslim in the way. Well, this is how they would. I mean, all these women, as soon as they are taken in the war, they become straight away Muslim. It's very difficult to think about a woman in the Arabs that is taken by her capture and she doesn't change her religion straight away to accept Muslim woman. You know, woman before, religion was not like that important. The Muslim woman, when is taken as captured, except we don't know of any woman who has been captured Muslim at the time of the Prophet was captured, except for one. I mean, a Muslim who had been in Medina with the Prophet and then has been captured.
By others,
Yeah, by others, not the woman that became Muslim and they are trying to like run away. There was many, but a woman who was taken, she was a Muslim with the Sahaba and then captured. There was one. She was taken. This hadith in Muslim.
Ran away with it. Ran away with the Prophet's camel.
She ran away with the Prophet camel. She was captured, and then they put her in the stable with the camel. So she cut herself free, and with the camel of the Prophet, she ran away. She came to Medina, and on the way she made this vow. She said, if Allah help me to get, she said like this, oh Allah, if you help me get to Medina safe, I will slaughter this camel for you. The camel of the Prophet, not her camel. Then when she came to Medina and she told the Prophet, I have made a vow to slaughter the camel. He said, you asked Allah if He help you on this camel, like if the camel save you, to slaughter it. This is how you are going to like compensate the camel by slaughtering it. And then he said, there is no vow on a person on something that he doesn't own. So she made the vow on something that she doesn't own, so it's invalid. So this is the only woman that we know she has been captured, and she didn't really stay with her captors. She ran. Muslims women, when they understand the religion, they are different. But the women before, they were like, we know many women like the Sahaba, they will capture them in the same day they become Muslim. Can a master force his slave to marry? Yeah. So this is, as for Malik, Abu Hanifa, when he say a woman, a man, I don't know how we came out of this. He said a man has the right to use his slave. Therefore, he can give this right to someone else. So that means marry her to someone else. We know that a man has the right to have sexual relation with his wife. It's only for him. Does he have to give this right to other person? Can he marry his wife to another person temporarily or something? So it doesn't make sense. What he said here doesn't make sense. That it is the opinion of Shafi'i and the Zahiris that a slave and whether man or woman should not be married to someone else without their consent. You understand?
Freedom, okay.
I mean, they have to choose.
Yeah.
They have to be asked first. If they agree, they can get married. If they don't agree, then
You see, the slave is
yeah.
married.
Yeah.
They become free.
No, she doesn't become free. She is married. She stays the ownership of her master, but he can't approach her only.
Yeah.
The only way that a slave of a Muslim becomes married, becomes free, she has either he free her himself, or sell her to someone who will free her, or if the slave asks for freedom. I mean, if the slave becomes a Muslim and asks for freedom, because some slaves don't want freedom. There are many slaves at the time of the previous times. I mean, when the Muslims were still having slaves, and many slaves will not want to be freed because the way they are treated. Yeah, they were treated very nice way, and you see, he has a house, and it is haram to beat slave. It's haram to force a slave to do any work that he can't.
But before Islam came, they fought.
Well, of course, but in Islam says if a slave is hit without doing anything wrong, and someone hit him, or even if he does something wrong and he is hit, someone hit him excessively or on the face, then he is free automatically. Straight away hit, then he is free. He doesn't have to his master doesn't have to free him. He is free. And so many slaves were treated very well. You understand? So they don't want freedom. They just think, okay, if I am freed, I am going to have to find a place. I have to start, find a job, you understand? But here it's like easy, like he lives like part of the family. But if he asks for his freedom, then it is an obligation on the master to value him, how much he is worth, and give him this price. And of course it is the obligation of what we call the Baytul Mal, the Islamic rulers, from part of the money that goes to the state is to be used to free the slaves. So it is his right to get that money from the ruler to pay for his master and get his freedom. It's not that when he wants freedom, if he is Muslim, then there is no way you can stop him unless he can't pay. There is problem, shortage of money, the state can't pay for him, the people are not giving him his zakat. Then he has to work to earn this money. Over when he has paid his full price, then he is free.
Well, what if a master has kids,
a
slave girl, and then she gets married?
Master has no, there is a big debate about when a man has a slave and he has a child with her. What kind of woman is she now? At first, when she has first child with her master, is she free automatically now or not? This is one of the things that has been debated for very long time. Some people actually use the same hadith. One hadith, some people use it to say this hadith show that she is free. The other people like to say, no, this hadith actually shows that she is still a slave. You understand? This is it's a long debate, so we will talk about this later. But if a man has a slave and he marry her to someone else rather than keep her for himself, marry her to someone else, it is not desirable in Islam for a man to marry the slave of someone else. That is because the children will be slaves of the other man.
Because you're saying property.
No, the woman had children. This woman, she is the property of that man. Anything that comes from her is his property.
His sons,
No, it's not his sons. They are the sons of the man who married her.
Yeah.
But they are his property.
It's conflictual, isn't it?
Huh?
It's conflictual.
Yeah, no, that is something that is agreed, that the children will be his property. What is not agreed, what the different opinions here, that the majority say it is haram for a man to marry a slave. A slave of another man. It is haram to marry his slave anyway, according to unanimously. But it is haram to marry a slave of another man unless this is the only thing that he can do. He can't get married to a free woman, according to the majority. The Zahiri say it's fine. You can marry her even if he can marry a free woman. And that is because of the ayah in the Quran that says, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ مِنْكُمْ طَوْلًا أَنْ يَنْكِحَ الْمُحْصَنَاتِ, and whoever can't marry the muhsanat, mean the free woman, فَمِمَّا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ, then he can marry those that your right hand possess. Just remember that what we are doing here is not go to just trying to find out the different opinions, not going to conclusions. This is something that we will do if you want later, or just we try to understand the issues, how the fuqaha understand it, the opinions about it, the dalil for every, you understand? But conclusion, sometimes there is 2-3 different opinions, we'll just keep it like that way, unless it's clearly wrong. You understand? The opinion is clearly wrong. It means it has no merit whatsoever. Always is one opinion that is right, but sometimes the wrong opinion still, like, it has some. Do you need the consent of guardian or not when you are deflowered baligh? Do you need the consent? A woman does. Do you need the consent of guardian or not when you are a virgin, a woman? Well, the thing about the consent is this. The ayah speaks about men, that they can get married or they don't have to get married. But every time the Quran speaks about women or about slaves, they have to have the consent of their master, or women have the consent. Doesn't mean that they have to be forced, but they have to have the consent, like the guardian first. It is for the guardian to do the marriage. This is how it looks from the Quran. The Quran doesn't talk to the women who are going to get married. The Quran doesn't talk to the slaves. He talks to their master.
Okay.
That they should be married in a certain way, or they shouldn't be married to certain people. Same thing, the Quran doesn't speak to the woman how they are going to get married. It speaks to their guardian how they should be married. Now there is a hadith which is in this hadith, Sufyan al-Thawri from Abu Ishaq al-Sabi'i, from Abu Burda ibn Abi Musa al-Ash'ari from his father. The only problem here, we have Abu Ishaq al-Sabi'i. Sufyan al-Thawri narrated from him when he was still okay, before he became but Abu Ishaq Sabi'i is a mudallis. Sufyan Thawri also. This hadith is narrated by Shu'bah, except that the person who narrated it from Shu'bah, the person who narrated it from the person who narrated it from Shu'bah, is not really that strong. This hadith is in Bazzar and others. People have spoken about hadith of Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. We have another hadith from Aisha, which is narrated by Urwa ibn Zubayr. From him, narrated by Zuhri. From Zuhri, this hadith is narrated by someone called Sulaiman ibn Musa. Okay? So this hadith is narrated like this. Ibn Jurayj, from Sulaiman ibn Musa, from Zuhri, from Urwa ibn Zubayr, from Aisha. That the Prophet said, there is no marriage except with Wali. This hadith could have solved all the problem between the different opinions. Ibn Jurayj is trustworthy, but mudallis. But definitely this hadith he heard it. He said that he heard it. Yeah. Sulaiman ibn Musa, this is the opinion about Sulaiman ibn Musa. Abu Hatim said he was truthful. He make mistakes in hadith. Bukhari said he narrates some weird hadith, manakir. Abu Dawud said same thing. Now this will make him generally, in normal circumstances, will make this man weak. But no, we don't care about what Bukhari and Abu Hatim have said. Why? Because the people that Bukhari and Abu Hatim rely on, actually, who know this man better than Bukhari and Abu Hatim, have said better than this about him. Like Zuhri, who is his teacher, he said, I have not seen someone who memorized like this man. This is his teacher, Zuhri. He narrates from Zuhri. He compared him to Makhul. He said he is more better memory than Makhul, and Makhul is a very trustworthy person. Ibn Jurayj, who narrated from him, he praised him. Ata ibn Abi Rabah, another trustworthy person of Tabi'i, praised him. Ibn Ma'in praised him. So what does it matter if Bukhari or Abu Hatim says? Bukhari and Abu Hatim, they learned this knowledge of criticizing people from these people. You understand? So now their saying is not accepted. There is only one problem. Ibn Ulayya, this is what people rely on, saying this hadith is da'if. Ibn Ulayya, Ismail ibn Ulayya, narrated this hadith from Ibn Jurayj. Exactly this way. Then Ibn Ulayya said, Ibn Jurayj said, he narrated this hadith from Sulaiman ibn Musa. Then from Sulaiman ibn Musa narrated from Zuhri. Ibn Jurayj said, I met Zuhri and asked him about this hadith. He said, I don't remember this, I don't know this hadith. Now, Sulaiman ibn Musa said, Zuhri told me. Ibn Jurayj met Zuhri and he said, I asked him about this hadith. He said, I don't know this hadith. Okay. The other thing is, Ibn Ulayya, Ismail ibn Ulayya, said Ibn Jurayj said, I met Sulaiman ibn Musa later and he said, I don't remember this hadith. Okay? Wait. Then they say Aisha has married what she did. The children of Abdul Rahman, the brother of Aisha, the daughters of Abdul Rahman, the brother of Aisha. Abdul Rahman was in Sham. Someone asked to marry the daughter of Abdul Rahman. Aisha offered this girl to him into marriage without the consent of her father?
She doesn't know.
I know. If
No.
she's saying that.
If she is saying,
that
if she narrates the hadith, they will say, if she narrates this hadith, well, how is he going to do the opposite?
Yeah.
And Zuhri was asked question from this is different narrations, of course.
Yeah.
Zuhri was asked question. Someone married. A man was absent and his daughter was married. What do you say about that? He said, when he come back, he should be asked. If he agree, it's fine. If he doesn't agree, then the marriage is nullified. So he is not saying that the marriage is invalid. He's saying the marriage is valid. Unless the father doesn't agree. You understand now? So,
But indirectly,
so how
the father is a guardian still there.
yeah, but he is still saying that it's not necessary. The marriage is done without him.
Yeah, so if he disagrees now, now the marriage is invalid.
Yes.
So indirectly, he's saying that the father is still the...
Yeah, but he is still saying the marriage is valid before the father agrees.
Okay, but when he comes...
Because the hadith will make the marriage invalid. The hadith says there is no marriage.
So the father could come back after 20 years.
Yes.
Just saying.
Yes, this is what they say. We are not going to discuss that.
Okay.
So he is saying the marriage is valid. That is contrary to the hadith that he narrated. It has been said, he narrated it. Now the answer to this is Aisha is the person who narrated the hadith about there is no breastfeeding after a certain age. Like a person when he is breastfed, when he is old, it's not counted as breastfeeding. It's not mahram. Like if a woman breastfeeds someone who is 10 years old.
There's a lot of
10
women
yeah.
doing that nowadays.
Yeah. So if he breastfeed someone who is 10 years old, he's still not her son. Because he should be breastfed within 2 years when the children are normally breastfed. Then he will be considered her son. He can stay with her alone. Or Aisha is the one who narrated this hadith, that رضاعة من المجاعة. That means the breastfeeding is the one that make flesh. I mean, if you bring an old man, someone who is 40 and you breastfeed him, what is they going to change? It will not change anything in his body. I mean, this milk.
But what about the hadith that says, probably, I don't know if it's authentic or not, that
Abu Hudayfa and Salim, you are going to take me from one subject to another. We are not going to talk about breastfeeding now. That hadith is sahih, but has nothing to do with. We are talking now about the hadith of Aisha, that she said 2 years, that the breastfeeding has to be done when the child is small. She is the one who narrated this hadith, it is confirmed. But then she used to ask her sister. No, she has another sister, Kulthum. She used to ask her sister to breastfeed some people who are old, to become a mahram.
students.
You understand? So when they come inside to listen to the hadith, she will not have problem talking to them. And this contradicts her hadith. And then people will say, oh, probably she has forgotten. Or probably she has forgotten her hadith. Who doesn't forget? The Prophet one day was praying at home with Aisha, and then he heard a man in the mosque reading Quran. He said, may Allah have mercy on him. He just reminded me on ayah. I totally forgot. So who doesn't forget? So they say she either has forgotten or she understood it something. People, you have hadith, someone will understand it in a way, another person will understand it in another way, because there is another hadith that You understand? So Aisha might have understood the hadith, so it's not proof that this hadith that is narrated from her is weak. As for Zuhri, the same thing. It is a possibility that he understood the hadith, that is a guardian. You can have the marriage, and then later if the guardian doesn't agree, the marriage can be nullified. But the marriage is still, like, there is no marriage without dowry. We know that.
Yeah.
You have to have dowry. But we know if that Prophet was asked about a marriage where there was no mentioning of dowry, and he didn't nullify the marriage, he just said that she must be given a dowry later on. So Zuhri could have understood it that way.
Yeah.
As for Zuhri denying knowing the hadith, and Sulaiman ibn Musa denying knowing the hadith, we have to look who narrated this from Ibn Jurayj. Ismail ibn Ulayya. Ismail ibn Ulayya said, Ibn Jurayj told me that I have asked Zuhri. Zuhri denied this hadith. And Ibn Jurayj said, I later met what is his name? Sulaiman ibn Musa, and asked me again about the hadith, and he has forgotten the hadith. This is probably the reason why Abu Hatim and Bukhari consider this man to be not very strong in hadith. And this is not true. This hadith here, we can't accept it as authentic. That Ibn Jurayj asked Zuhairi and he said no. Even though when you look at the isnad, it is fine. Ibn Ulayya, Ismail ibn Ulayya, unanimously trustworthy. Ibn Jurayj, unanimously trustworthy. Asking these people and who are trustworthy, anyway, if they were not trustworthy, still they are talking about themselves. Not they are saying we have not heard this hadith. I have not narrated this hadith. The problem here is what Ibn Ma'in says, that Ismail ibn Ulayya said something. He said, all the books, the hadith of Ibn Jurayj, all the hadith that I heard from Ibn Jurayj, he had them in one book. He wrote them down in one book. And then he gave that book to someone called Abdul Majid bin Abdul Aziz bin Abi Rawad. He gave him that book and he said, he asked him to correct it for him. I mean, his book, he was not kept with him. You know, when someone writes hadith,
keeps it safe.
He must keep his book safe with him all the time, so nobody can add to it or delete from it. He is saying here, I gave my book to Abdul Majid ibn Abdul Aziz ibn Abi Rawad to correct it for me, because he knows the hadith of Ibn Jurayj better than him. And Abdul Majid ibn Abdul Aziz is not trustworthy. So his book, when it comes to the hadith of Ibn Jurayj, he put in one book. All you can't rely on them. So the hadith must stay as sahih. Is it too much? Did you catch what?
Who found all these problems before? Like,
Well, these problems you have to read. When you have to hadith, you have to go at hadith and see it. When you read, all these things are there for a reason, for you to keep and look and. So, did you get anything? Or?
Yeah, of course I did.
I hope. I will go. I will ask you about this again later.
Please do.
Or now?